there's different reasons for why I didn't do it. Either just being afraid of waking up or afraid of hurting people in my life, like passing along my feelings of depression to someone else. You know, just feeling like, yeah, just, it was hard. And then, feeling like, you know, so hopeless and like it, there's no way it could be better, so even death wouldn't help me. So like, you know, it's just gonna get worse. And because my life, I felt like my life had just gotten worse and nothing ever got better. And no matter how many times I tried throughout that time period of this 2 years there, I like, you know, I felt like no matter how many times I tried trying to, you know, do it on my own by getting exercise, eating well, doing yoga, which I didn't really commit to, and because I couldn't exercise, I didn't have energy, I didn't care about eating, I didn't want to sleep, but I also wanted to sleep all the time, because like, I'm like, maybe I can do something. And yeah, anyways, you know, it may have gotten a bit better, but it always got worse than it did before, and even worse. And then maybe it got better, but then it got even worse. And so it was just so bad. I'm like, well, death's not gonna help, you know. And I felt like at that point I was in so much pain, and like so many things, even like being tortured, being able to be open about this would be better. And, you know, but I was like, you know, I viewed death as three possibilities. Like, it would be equally as bad, it could be better, or it could be a lot worse. And I'm like, because my life keeps getting worse, it's going to be worse. So death is hopeless. Life, I feel awful all the time, and I feel trapped in. It's never going to get better in life, never going to get better in death. I'm trapped in feeling awful, feeling hopeless, feeling terrible, feeling in pain forever. You know, and I can definitely pick apart logic flaws in that now, but I couldn't then. And there's a lot of things that, you know, now I could look at and be like, oh, that's stupid. And even if in the moment I'm like, I don't believe this for something, I couldn't, it didn't matter. I'd still feel it. And now I've learned a lot of coping mechanisms. But anyways, I was there in a really bad place, but then one day I just really needed to do something. So I came very close to killing myself. I held pill bottles in my hand. I have a lot of issues with that. I often have flashbacks or relive that moment. So that sucks. But yeah, but I decided to keep going because I'd never told anyone. I'd never been honest about how I was feeling and the fact that I was depressed. So I was like, you know, I can see if this does something, and then if it doesn't, then I'll kill myself. But I can't try this if I don't, and maybe this will be more effective, and I don't know. And I felt really like it was a hopeless option. It wasn't actually going to happen. But I'm so glad that I tried it anyways. So eventually I moved, and I asked to start therapy or start talking to someone because of my anxiety. Yeah, and that was kind of hard to figure out, but eventually I did see someone, and in January of 2015, I ended up, well, actually, earlier than that, I talked to a doctor and just said, I'm feeling really depressed, or like a doctor in training or something, I'm feeling really depressed, and she said, okay, we'll figure this out and we'll get you help. And then nothing ever came of that, and it was really awful. And I was like, I need to be more specific, and actually talk what I mean so people understand how serious this is. And then maybe, and that'll count as my confession, because I'm so glad I decided that too. And I didn't just say, well, I said I was depressed, now I can do it, because nothing really came of that. So that sucked. But yeah, anyways, eventually I did actually tell someone. I sat down with someone. I was able to get counseling. It was a lot more accessible at this point in my life too. I was really fortunate to be able to see someone through my school without having to talk to my mom about the fact that I was seeing someone or about how often I was seeing someone. I was able to just do it and have access to this very frequently whenever I needed to. So pretty much, so that was really helpful for me. So anyways, I saw this person, I sat down, I told everything that I was experiencing, and then I realized that I'd done something that I felt was so impossible, so incredibly unlikely to happen, something I'd never be able to do, and I did it. It was the impossible. I did the impossible, and for me, and it was incredible, and it gave me hope, and I took that hope and I held on to it like hell. I held on to it so tightly, and was like, okay, if I can do that, maybe I can get to a place where I don't want to die, or I don't want to kill myself rather, because even then it's a different step for me, because there's a time when I'm like, I want to die, but I no longer want to kill myself. So because I'm like, I want to die, but also I want a future. But it took me a long time to get there too. But the first step was really like deciding that I could try, and I could do something, and I could keep trying to get a bit better. And again, the option of suicide was actually really comforting to me because it was something that was always there. I didn't want to be in a place where I felt like I couldn't do that, because I would feel really trapped and it would make me feel worse. So yeah. But really I just started thinking of how I could figure stuff out. So I was like, I need to get to a place where I like myself more and I don't hate myself so much. So I figured I could do this first by realizing what thoughts and feelings I was having, because I had no idea. And so I started to try to be more aware of that. And even just like the feeling could be as simple as, I like the temperature I'm in. And then I would figure out why, because if I was colder, I'd be more uncomfortable. And if I was warmer, I would also be more uncomfortable than I am right now. So I'm okay with this temperature. Instead of being like, I like this thing, because I didn't know, because I'm like, I like this thing, but it doesn't bring me joy. So do I like it? So I had to really realize, like, I enjoy something because other options are not as good as that one for me, even if I'm not really feeling anything from it. And it was weird. So, but like, I had to relearn feelings and thoughts and understanding my feelings and thoughts, and starting to work on that and be okay with what I found, which is no easy task. But so anyways, through that is partially why I discovered I was queer and then eventually trans, which there's more to that too, but that's pretty much it. And that's the main thing. And that was actually really incredible for me, because those things gave me a pathway to learn to love myself and to learn to be okay with me. But even at the time, I was like, I know I feel this attraction, but I'm not actually feeling this attraction. I'm just feeling this way because I want a reason to have a problem, because I want something to be upset about, because it would justify my depression. And so I was really worried about that, which is awful, that being queer would justify your depression. Like, what does that say about our world? Jeez. But it wasn't that. I was legitimately queer. Surprise. But, kicked the camera. But yeah, it's messy. But I was able to get to a place where I was better and get to a place where I was feeling more okay. And I was able to be okay with me. It just took a lot of time, a lot of therapy, a lot of time. a lot of work on my part of navigating things, but the thing is all this work, all of this work and effort I put in, all of this retraining my brain and causing my brain to think differently, it got easier as time went on, and I was able to do it. And I wouldn't have thought I'd be able to do that. You know, I felt so hopeless about everything. I felt like there was too much, but I did. And it got easier and more possible, and feeling better and better felt more and more possible as time went on. And I realized things could be even better than I thought all the time. And then that was kind of hard to accept, but then you learn to accept it, and then things could be even better. And then that was hard to accept, and like, just life could get better, and that was hard to get to, and it was a journey, and it was incredible. And also a struggle of mine was going on mood stabilizers, and like, do I want antidepressants, like anti-anxiety medication? You know, I did eventually end up talking to my family doctor, and you know, she said, you can try this. I'm not going to pressure you into anything, but you can try this. I think it might help you, or like try something. We can talk about this. But I was terrified, and so because I had already kind of figured out my brain a bit, so I was like, I don't want to change the way I think because that terrifies me, but also I really need help, and things are taking a really long time at this moment, and it's hard. It was so hard. So I was like, and then eventually I ended up going on naturopathic mood stabilizers, and then that was really helpful for me because it did something, and it stopped me from feeling chronic fatigue. But then I had more anxiety, so I switched, and then that was awful and a whole process. And also these things didn't give me symptoms, which was fantastic, or not symptoms, side effects. So that was awesome, but it wasn't necessarily enough on its own. I had to work to all the other things because it made my brain quieter, but I still had lots of awful thoughts over that. And I did start to have, you know, good thoughts too, but now I'm like in a place where I feel good things. I feel things, and I like my life, and I like myself. I love who I am right now. Like, what? Like, how did I get here? So it's possible. And it's so incredible that it's possible because I really didn't think it was. And I think this needs to be shared. And also, like, I'm here. I'm telling you these things. Like, me, the person who was so terrified of anyone finding out, I'm on a public space talking about it. So, like, yeah, life is a thing that is worth living, and it's worth pushing through to get here. And no matter how bad it was really, really bad for me. Like, really, really bad. And it still got better after time, and it's still gonna get better, and I'm excited to be alive. So yeah, I might do more talking about stuff around this, but yeah, that's my story. I still take naturopathic mood stabilizers. I'm on 5-HTP 3 times a day. And that helps a bit. You know, also transition helped me because I did have dysphoria, so that has helped a lot. Too, I go to therapy, or I like talk to a counselor or whatever, weekly or bi-weekly sometimes. But like very often because I need that. And what I do is I just do talk therapy because I just need to talk to myself and to someone there so I can bounce ideas around and actually say them, so I'm acknowledging them and then notice stuff in my own speaking. But yeah, I'm still working towards being better and accepting how I'm feeling and understanding and being compassionate towards myself and doing the things I need to do. But it's a lot easier now, and I'm a lot better. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and I just did this. Okay, bye.